People have been having varied opinions about the newly determined mechanic in Smash Ultimate. To inform those unaware, there is now body blocking in Smash Bros. This is different from all the other Smash games. I can't say for certain the specificities of the previous games. I know Smash 4 had the characters provide a faint resistance when you tried to run past them, but you could do it pretty easily. In this game, however, your character takes up a certain space and that space cannot be intruded by anyone else. This changes interactions with many moves. One good example is how you can't use Fox Side B on people's shields anymore, as you get stopped by it, likely giving your opponent an easy punish. I haven't watched much Ultimate content myself, purely a personal thing. I want to see most of the new stuff firsthand when I get to play it. But I've heard that some moves can go through a shield, like dash attacks and aerials. I don't know the veracity of that, so I won't confirm it. Regardless, it's irrelevant to the point I want to make. Before I get into that though, let me tell you about the sponsor of this video. That's right, I'm sponsored like a real YouTuber and shit. I'm being sponsored by Amino, which is a network of different communities and fandoms. You can really find anything you can imagine there, but I of course want to specifically talk about the Smash Ultimate one. What I like about it over other community websites or apps is the variety in its features and categories. Like, it's not just blog posts you can comment on. It has that, and it has a specific section for music that opens SoundCloud. It has a section for the website that opens right there on the app too. It has public chats where you can create a topic and people can jump right in and discuss, or you can play a video and have like a live screening. It tracks events. It just does a lot of cool stuff I haven't seen these types of apps do. I'm gonna do a Q&A session there. It likely won't be tons of people, but even if by chance it is, I'm gonna make a commitment to answer every single question. You know, as long as they ain't weird. So if you feel like doing that, links in the description and comments. Look up my name, Dendry, and you'll find the post. Alright, so many in the community have begun to exhibit hyperbolic reactions to the body block change. Now, I don't want to talk too much about the reactions per se, let's not feed into that cycle, but because of said reactions, I gotta talk about this change in detail, because honestly, people are blowing this way out of proportion. First things first, something extremely important everyone needs to realize about this topic is nobody knows what they're talking about. I don't know, you don't know, nobody truly knows. People can make educated guesses, people can make analyses based on what they know about Smash, but anybody that tells you that they know this is a bad change, that they're certain this is going to result in a worse game because of it, does not know what they're talking about, and they are lying either to you or to themselves. I'm a content creator who wants to become known for their competitive knowledge in this game, so I wish I could come in and tell you that I know for sure what this change is going to result in, but anyone worth their salt knows that is just not how it works. It's like saying what character is top tier and what character is low tier. We can make assumptions and hey, we'll get some stuff right and some stuff wrong, but the complexity of a metagame is not something that can be figured out through mere observation. You need playing time, and a lot of it. I'm talking months and even years. Players need to explore every option in every situation, have them happen hundreds of times, figure out all the minor details, push the game to its limits, and only then can we make informed conclusions. There are exceptions, sure. We can see tripping is bad instantly. It's a random element that punishes you for no reason and removes your agency as a player, but this is a consistent change in how the players interact with each other. This is something that can be learned and adapted to. The question of how it will affect the metagame over time is something that can only be speculated. So that's the first reason we should cool it with the negativity, because we all know we really don't know. Now let me throw my 2 cents into the speculation pot, because given my knowledge and beliefs about Smash, it is my opinion that this change is not only not that major, but will not be a negative. I won't even say it will be a positive, it might be, but I cannot see why it would be a negative as the metagame develops over time. People are saying this is nothing more than a simplification of the game. It simplifies interactions between players, since to go past a player you can only jump over, roll behind, or maybe do other moves that cross up. People are saying it's an option for several situations that is now removed, and less options is never a good thing. It was a solid mix-up option in Smash 4. Were someone sitting in their shield, they just whiffed a move, you thought they were gonna whiff a move or do something else, you could dash past them to either pivot back throw, reverse F tilt or F smash, or just go get stage control and reset neutral. These options being removed undoubtedly has its downsides, but one sentiment I cannot disagree with enough is that less options is never a good thing. That is an overly superficial perspective when looking at how a metagame works. Sometimes less options is a good thing. Or y'all gonna tell me you don't see the negatives of having too many defensive options, or too many offensive ones for that matter. This is, however, a movement option that can be used offensively or defensively, but the principle is still the same. Lack of options isn't always bad because it can give a specific focus to your game, a focus that can become muddled with more options. When they are limited, you have to approach certain situations a certain way, which could sound restrictive, but sometimes this can result in a better game experience, in more satisfying interactions for the players. For example, if you want a game to allow close range boxing and poking, great movement options wouldn't allow allow that very well. The focus of the game would shift from that to using set options efficiently to charge in and out. If you want your game to have keep away projectile characters, too many varying movement options make that harder. They also remove risk from disadvantageous positions. They can make mistakes harder to punish. To go outside fighting games, imagine a shooter where you try to peek from cover and be accurate with the least amount of time possible, maybe move quickly between covers. That consistent experience can be more satisfying than a shooter where you have the option to instantly jump to where your opponent is for close quarter combat. Usually one isn't always objectively better than the other, but result in different experiences, each with its own value. More options can be a good thing as well, so the game does not feel too linear or restrictive, but there is always a thing as excess. Less options can lead to a more reliable, satisfying experience. Saying less options is bad as a blanket statement is just silly. But alright, that was just an argument to that statement. Let's talk about the specific change. My first opinion about it is that it won't be that big of a change in the first place. All these things more or less options result in won't end up being that impactful here, because it's not like adding a shockwave grenade to PUBG. It's not that deep. It's not a movement option for every situation. It's for very specific situations, because believe it or not, people aren't usually standing there in their shield just waiting for you to pass them. People are dashing in and out and throwing out moves. Your opponent is a constant threat. Running right in front of them and then past them without doing anything is very risky, since you're helpless to whatever they throw out. However, when you have a person conditioned to shield in certain situations, it can work. It's one of those things like it's such a bad option that it's unexpected and it works, making it a good option. Of course, when someone is shielding isn't the only moment where you can cross someone up. You can do it timing it right after someone whiffed a move and punish them with a pivot grab or reverse tilt. The thing about this though, just like with pivot grabbing someone's shield, is that it's not going to affect how the interaction takes place. In these scenarios, you're still going to get your punish. You just won't be able to do back throw to the direction you want, but you'll be able to throw, or stop on a dime and use a tilt. If you could run past them and attack, you'll have more than enough time to just attack. I understand the qualms about this not being an option, because there is a risk to slightly taking longer to dash behind your opponent, and the reward is the specific direction of the move you wanted. It makes it a bit less layered, but it is a nerf to fast characters. Slow characters cannot do it that well, or cannot do it at all, and fast characters are already always good for many reasons. Also, there could be cases where this change leads to new interesting interactions, like for example dropping from a platform at the right moment when you think a player is going to go through, stopping him in his tracks, or other little moments where body blocking could be used strategically for your advantage. On top of that, like I said before, I feel like this adds a certain focus to the game. It's a head-to-head, straight-on battle. There's no running behind me whenever you get the chance. It creates a dynamic where the players have this physical presence that needs to be respected and accounted for. I'm a wall, and you can't get past me unless you push me out of here. Or something more active, more committal, like rolling or jumping, not just running right by. In general, I think, and again, this is all slightly, because it's not going to change much, but I think this makes it harder to get stage control, and thus adds more value to stage control. I personally like it because it might make the experience feel a bit more like one of those stereotypical fight scenes when you're in a stage, but if you're knocked away you lose, and as you get close to the edge you start to feel a bit more pressure because it's a bit harder to get back to center stage. If you get knocked off though, you don't lose immediately, but you're really not where you want to be compared to Smash 4 due to the air dodging changes. There will be more value to putting your opponent on their heels, and thus it will feel more rewarding as you are able to get them there. The value behind it increases, therefore so does the feeling of satisfaction. That might lead to a better game experience overall. It might not, but I don't see how it would lead to a worse one. It's just gonna be different. Well, actually, there might be one bad thing, which is ledge play. Having one less option to get back could make ledge guarding over-centralizing. We'd see it a lot of times in Smash 4 when players would get caught over and over and over again trying to get back on stage. They were being outplayed, sure, nobody's fault but their own, but it was a prominent aspect of the game, and making it harder to get back could make this too prominent. I think it's more exciting to eventually see people get back and play on stage, get some combos, instead of seeing a whole stock get chipped away with single hits over and over again. This might have to be balanced by making the off-the-ledge options stronger, like make them quicker, more invincibility frames, something like that, but this is my most speculative point. We'll have to see how it develops. If you want to complain about lack of movement options in general, this game added tons of movement options with usable dash dancing and dash canceling. It's giving way more than it's taking away in that regard. When it comes to the change of blocking specials, and maybe other moves too, I think that is very purposefully put in to make it easier to punish things, which is good. Sakurai and everyone else wants this game to be more fast-paced, with stocks going by faster. We don't want 6 minutes where nobody can take more than one stock. We all know he made certain changes so that wouldn't happen. Having moves be more likely to end up right in front of someone's shield falls into that. And in a game that has better movement options, that has less universal lag, a game in which it would generally be harder to punish things, this is a nice balance so people can't abuse safe moves too much. More moves are punished and more damage is racked up across the board. The argument is the same for dashing in when you think your opponent is going to dash in. That's always going to be a non-committal move. It's a reset the neutral move. Now you don't have that option. So in many situations you'll have to commit. You'll have to throw something out. You'll have to risk being punished, which again leads to damage being racked up, leads to a more active game and a more entertaining game to watch. So in conclusion, I think people ought to chill a bit. Maybe look at this from a more optimistic lens. Number 1, because we can't know for sure what this will even lead to. Number 2, because it likely won't be so impactful as a movement option change, since the interactions it will affect are rare, and it will affect them only slightly. And number 3, because it might add an interesting focus and dynamic to stage control. Not to mention how it works with specials and how it might work with dash attacks and landing aerials is likely going to lead to more punishes and a faster paced game. That's my take on this. I'm out. Peace!